In this episode, we're going to party in Sedona and maybe do a hike or two. We're going to make a day trip to Williams and the Grand Canyon. Yeah, the Grand Canyon. It never gets old. And then after that, on the next episode, Montezuma Castle, the Montezuma Well, Tusigut National Monument. We'll taste some local wines, we'll visit the Jerome mining town, and then we'll go back to the White Mountains after a fresh dusting of snow. Yeah, the adventure continues. I'm riding in my RV, wherever I want to be, 'cause I'm free in my RV, yeah. We're going to Sedona, leaving the land of the Sonoran Desert, the saguaro cacti, to the high desert. Yes, we won't be seeing too many more of these as we start gaining elevation. By the way, we are departing from the Phoenix area, going north on Interstate 17. It is a gorgeous drive that I took once before, back in 2018 when I visited Sedona for the first time. This time, however, Ili is with me, so it's going to be a lot more fun. This mountainous area is where old Kia, my former tow vehicle, struggled the most. It was really underpowered to tackle some of these mountains. All of a sudden, it is getting cloudy, and there is rain in the forecast, but we'll make the best of it. Now descending onto Verde Valley. What a spectacular view! And even though it is sunny here, it is dark and cloudy north of us, so you can't really make out all the red rock formations. That's a little bit of a bummer. We'll be back to this area in a couple of days after Sedona. There's so much to see and do around here. Plenty of wineries and ruins from the Senagua people. Really looking forward to this part of the trip. Here's where we're going to take State Route 179 north towards Sedona, entering Coconino National Forest and Red Rock Scenic Byway, and we can already see some of the red rock formations in the distance. This is the village of Oak Creek, which means we're almost there. And there's a huge traffic jam going into Sedona, which is expected at a super popular destination like this, especially on Valentine's Day weekend. It is going to be worth the crowds, let me tell you. I mean, take a look at that mountain. That is breathtaking. Yeah, traffic and gloomy weather. But isn't this like the cutest of towns? We're staying at Rancho Sedona RV Park, which is right in the middle of town. In fact, if it wasn't for Oak Creek in the middle of the way, we would just be a couple hundred feet from the main drag. It is nice, but one of those places with a whole booklet of rules and regulations. Let's go into town, and let me tell you, before we go, we have to visit this area right here. You know, the one we're driving through right now. It's called Tlaquepaque Arts and Shopping Village. There's a bunch of cool shops and restaurants, wineries, and the brewery. Wait for it, wait for it. Boom! Lightning bolt! This is the main drag here on State Route 89A. And parking might be a challenge, but I have faith. Rain is imminent too. Oh, what did I do? I kept going and left town. I wanted to take this road. It is an incredibly scenic drive, but not right now. In fact, we're gonna run into some rain really soon here, so let's turn around as soon as possible. And we got caught in the rain. And we're back in Sedona, and we've found parking. It is raining in Sedona, but we don't care. We're gonna enjoy this town, and you can't really see the view, but it's very nice. Trust me. Yeah, maybe this was not a good idea, but we're gonna do it anyways. It's kind of cold, yeah, and this rain doesn't help, but you know what? Did I lock the car? Let's try and get under a roof. Yeah, this is, we don't know what we're doing. Winery, here we go. Doesn't look very full, but apparently they're to capacity. Well, apparently they are at full capacity, so yeah, maximum capacity is 16. All right, we'll figure something out, go somewhere else. Let's try the open range, but I'm pretty sure it's going to be impossible to. Yeah, this is hopeless. We're going to go someplace else. There's this shopping area next to the Hyatt. We might have better luck there. At least there is parking. There's a place here called Art of Wine we might want to check out. But first, let's see the view. Here we are. It looks nice. And they have flights. There's a little bit of a long wait, but eventually we got to our table and our flights. And something to nibble on as well. Yeah, I know it is dark, but that was a great place. Very much fun. We had some great wines from Arizona. Well, hello everybody, good morning from Sedona. It is Valentine's Day and today last night was a lot of fun, a lot of rainy fun. Billy can attest to that. And now we're gonna see if we can see some snow because we're from Florida, we never get to see snow. We got a little bit of snow here on the tops of these rocks. Yep. While it was raining down here, it was snowing up there. This is Arizona 89A, one of the most striking drives you can take in the area. Vehicles over 50 feet not allowed, although I wouldn't hesitate taking a short trailer, even though it is not recommended. And anything longer than Minitini might be a problem in the hairpin switchbacks coming up ahead. Here to the left, Slide Rock State Park. One of these days. It seems more like a summertime destination, to be honest. We're quickly gaining elevation and quickly starting to see more and more snow. Oh no, my lens! What's going on? It is getting cloudy. Now when we're hitting the best parts. Luckily, I still have the inside camera. Not as sharp, but at least it is clear. By the way, this is kind of the beginning of the switchbacks, the dangerous part, if you will. But really, it's not that bad. We even have guardrails. That is Oak Creek Canyon, and there's a vista point at the top, but with all this snow, yeah, it is closed. In 2018, I boondocked in this very forest. I wouldn't have been able to do that with all this snow. This right here is the entrance to the area where I camped, and it is completely covered in snow, and the road is closed. My lens is getting cloudy again. Maybe it is all the salt on the road? Not a very well-plowed road here as we arrive in Flagstaff, the San Francisco peaks almost entirely behind the clouds. It is not a bad-looking city, and of course, one of the most famous towns on historic Route 66. There's historic Hotel Monte Vista. Let's go up to Lowell Observatory to get that commanding view of the city. Fun fact, while the observatory itself is closed at the time of our visit, this is where the former planet Pluto was discovered. Well, that's a pretty nice view of the city. While we probably should have stayed in Sedona and enjoy what the town has to offer, everything was so crowded for Valentine's Day. Besides, the snow beckons our tropical hearts, so we're going to continue towards Williams, the gateway to the Grand Canyon, and another possible future location for Pelican West. It must have snowed a lot around here. Check it out! Historic Brewing. What can I say? They had me at brewing. Let's park. Yes, it is another historic Route 66 town. Well, we decided to stop here at Williams on a whim, really. And we may or may not go to the Grand Canyon. We shall see. Because it is still an extra hour or over an hour away. But I saw a brewery, and you know me and breweries. Oops, it's slippery here. Let me go through the non-snowy part of the street. Oh, look at these old gas pumps. I always wanted to do that in fresh snow like that.
There's the visitor center across the street. Let's go inside the brewery. We are both hungry and thirsty.
Oh, this is cool. We're drinking and compostables ideal. We've got burgers. Let's dig in.
Look at that. It is like a shooting range, perhaps? It's a cool place. There's a Route 66 zip line with a 1957 Chevy, no less.
Well, yeah, here we are, Williams, Arizona. Let's continue. It's bitterly cold still. So this is where the Grand Canyon Railroad is. It's pretty cool. We should take it one day.
We've decided to save the Grand Canyon for tomorrow, so let's go back and enjoy Sedona a little bit this afternoon. We're back on the 89A. What a drive, right? We're gonna go see one of the most iconic landmarks here in Sedona, the Chapel of the Holy Cross. It is certainly unique in design, and from certain angles, it looks like it is wedged on the rock. It is really busy, but I'm confident we will find parking.
Well, here we are, walking up to the church, the Holy Cross. This is supposed to be one of the energy vortices here.
Not only that, but from this vantage point, you get to see some of the best views of the rock formations, like the courthouse and the Bell Rock. Let's go inside the chapel.
Very impressive.
This place was amazing. Now let's continue exploring. We're going to end our day here by going on a little hike with the little light we have left. Those pink jeeps seem like a lot of fun. One of these days, we're gonna go on an off-roading excursion, but for now, we're just gonna park at the Boynton Canyon trailhead. There's supposed to be another energy vortex around here.
Alright, this is the Boynton Canyon. And you are here. 0.2 and 0.2 to the Boynton Vista Trail. But we're just gonna do a little bit of this trail because it is getting dark. And there is supposed to be an energy vortex here at this vista point. Boynton Canyon, Dead Man's Pass, Mescal.
Check it out! Wildlife! What is this? A staring contest? Hey, wait! Don't go away! Wouldn't it be great to have time and hike all the way up there?
This is the Red Rock Secret Mountain Wilderness.
Even if we don't make it to the top, the views from the trail are pretty spectacular.
Well, unfortunately, time's up. I wanted to go all the way to the top, but it's not worth risking having to do this part of the trail in the dark on the way back. So we might come back tomorrow. I mean, this is beautiful, beautiful up here and back there. That's the Enchanted Resort. Magnificent, magnificent views. It's really too bad that the sun's coming down so quickly. And sunset is upon us. Sunset is in about 20 minutes. And I don't want to be caught up, in the middle of the jungle. It's not a jungle, but you know what I mean.
Look at this view from the parking lot. And let me tell you, in hindsight, had we not gone all the way to Williams, we would have had the time to finish this hike. And tomorrow we're going back to the Grand Canyon anyway. But you know what? Life's unscripted. And we have no regrets. We had a great time today, actually. We're just going to pull over and enjoy the sunset.
All right, good morning. We've waken up pretty much at the crack of dawn. It is 30 degrees Fahrenheit, kind of freezing. But what have we awakened at this ungodly hour, you might ask? Well, we're going to the Grand Canyon. Hey, South Rim. So it's about a little over 2-hour drive. but I think it's gonna be worth it. Enjoy the ride. Yes, the Grand Canyon. How exciting! I have often mentioned it as my #1 natural wonder in the United States. We're taking a different route today. We're driving south towards the junction with I-17 in order to avoid the hairpin turns of 89A. It is a much longer route distance-wise, but it takes about the same time. Look at that! San Francisco peaks in their full splendor. They are magnificent mountains, aren't they? Volcanic in origin. The highest, Humphrey Peak, at 12,633 feet or 3,851 meters. It is the tallest mountain in Arizona. Look at those clouds. We must be getting close to Area 51, and we can already see the Grand Canyon way out there in the distance. There's also Red Butte, another sign we must be getting close. That's the old Flintstones RV park. We'll be back. This is rather unusual. There are not too many people waiting to get into the park. Our first stop, as usual, is going to be Mather Point by the Visitor Center. It is a short 5-minute walk from the Visitor Center, and it offers, in my opinion, some of the most expansive views of the Grand Canyon. Actually, it is the place I would recommend if you're visiting for the first time. While nothing can quite replicate that first experience, it really never gets old, as the vastness slowly reveals itself before your very eyes. Well, here we are. We've made it to the Grand Canyon, South Rim. The better rim, in my opinion. The better views, but it is quite a sight to see. Let's get closer to the overlook now. We can see Bright Angel Canyon here on the left. And one of these days, I want to hike the Rim to Rim Trail, the one that goes all the way to the other side. But for now, I'm just gonna climb onto this rock here. Somewhere out there on that side is the North Rim Lodge, only open in the warmer months. And way down there, we get a glimpse at the mighty Colorado River. Well, this is probably the best view of Mather Point here from the top of the rock, because you can see the whole panoramic, the whole Mather Point from up here, from this higher vantage point, and it's definitely a sight to see. This is probably the best view of the Grand Canyon right from up here.
Let's go see some of the other viewpoints, and we've never actually been on this side, on this road going west, hugging the south rim. And as you can see, all of a sudden it is overcast. Let's check out the view from Mojave Point here. Much better view of the Colorado River. It would be fascinating to explore every crevice, every nook and cranny of this gaping crease in the middle of the high desert. Let's go all the way to the end, to Hermit's Rest. By the way, all these smaller vista points are great too, and here we are. Hermit's Rest here has been around since 1914.
Well, let's go all the way to the end, to where the hermit used to rest. Well, the hermit was the hiker, and the hiker was a hermit. And I obviously have no idea what I'm talking about. But yeah, this is the Hermit's Rest, and apparently when you finish the long hike here, they will take care of you and give you vodka and stuff. I don't know. Let's enter the Hermit's Rest here.
Under normal circumstances, we could have sit here by the fire, but it's still early 2021.
Well, this is it, Hermit's Rest. The end of the road here as you're driving west on the south rim. And now we're gonna see where the end of the road is, where it leads. By the way, they have a pretty cool shop here. They have like snacks and coffee, and you saw that. Yeah, I thought we were gonna end it earlier back there, but we decided to come all the way to Hermit's Rest here, which is like the end of the road. And now I think it is time to go back to Sedona. It is a little over 2 hours drive, so, and it's bitterly cold. Bitterly cold, you have no idea. I mean, if you are from Minnesota, this is probably like a nice, balmy fall day for you guys. It is like 33 degrees Fahrenheit. And there's no wind, but there's no sun either. So. Beautiful, beautiful Grand Canyon.
We're gonna start heading back, stopping at some of the smaller vista points to admire the views of the Grand Canyon and the Colorado River.
Stopped here real quick because from this vantage point you get a view of the Grand Canyon Village over there. Beautiful view. And look at that. The sun's coming out.
There's El Tovar Hotel, very famous, the Kachina, the Thunderbird, and the Bright Angel Lodge. We stayed at one of those cabins back in 2013. Of course, no images can ever replicate the experience of standing here before this natural wonder. And with that, we're saying goodbye to the Grand Canyon. For now, we'll be back. This used to be a Flintstones-themed campground, nowadays called Raptor Park, but they decided to keep Bedrock City open, it being such a landmark. We're not gonna go in today, but it's nice to see that it's still here and that it is open.
Perfect timing, the bells are tolling, and I forgot the name of the place already. We are here at hold on, it's called the Tlaquepaque Arts and Shopping Village here in Sedona, and it's beautiful place, and very cute. We're gonna see that they have a wine place and they have several restaurants and arts galleries. So, and it looks like someone planted a tree in the middle of the building, or maybe they built the building around the tree. Oak Creek Brewery and Grill.
You know that brewery is calling our names, but first we want to sample some local wines at this place called Zona. They have one here and one in Jerome, and we're going to Jerome in a couple of days. This place is almost like a maze, and it does feel like we're going in circles looking for that wine place, but we don't really mind the walking all that much. There's great ambience here. We are Zona, which I'm sorry to say was a little disappointing, which makes me kind of sad because I had very high expectations. I mean, the wines were okay, but the experience, they didn't even have a wine menu available for us to see, and there was no one else there. Still, not bad, but it didn't live up to my expectations.
This place definitely very picturesque, very interesting. Let's just walk through here. There was a brewery somewhere around here. We just have to find it now.
Now we are getting hungry, so let's look for that brewery. Here we are, Oak Creek Brewery and Grill.
Oh yeah, we got a table with a view. Very nice view. He says it's the best table in the house.
Corn chowder, and Illy got a flight, and we got 2 full racks of baby back ribs. Our only meal of the day.
Definitely a good choice, Oak Creek Brewery. Oh, those ribs were amazing. We probably ate too much, but it is what it is. It's our one meal of the day, and their IPAs are really good actually. Now let's go back to the RV. And we might call it a night. After all that food. But great discovery. The village. I forget the name now. I thought it was only like art galleries and crafts and stuff like that. But they have restaurants and the brewery and that wine bar. It's very cool.
We're going south towards Camp Verde. And over the next couple of days, we're going to continue exploring the area, but I'm gonna save some of that for the next episode. Until then, thank you so much for watching, and see you on the road.
I'm riding in my RV, wherever I want to be, and 'cause I'm free in my RV, yeah.